it's Tricia here at Club Scrap, and let's take a look at the Aspen Greetings to Go collection. First of all, you've got your 15 envelopes, 5 each of 3 different sizes to match all of your cards and panels. What I always do is take my panels, set those aside. With the bone folder, I fold each card in half. Remember that the bump of the fold goes on the inside of the card, and then when I'm finished with that, I match them all up with the nesting mats that we've pre-cut for you. And then the next thing I do is either take a craft knife and a ruler and cutting mat, or a paper trimmer, and separate the sheets of cut-aparts that are included in your package. So in that case, you'll see a tiny little hash mark indicating where you can trim, and just use whatever method makes you feel most comfortable. And then you also have some really cool tree charms, and then 2 lengths of ribbon that you can use for embellishment. So let's go ahead and take a look at the first set of cards. These are the ones with the deeper green base. And whenever we select a darker stock for the base of our cards, I always include an additional lighter colored panel so that you don't necessarily have to have a metallic or a white pigment pen for writing on the inside of the card. On this first one, I used the I love you quote from the unmounted font art, and I stamped it once onto the almond and then again onto the blue beneath it. Took a craft knife and cut out the individual words that were in capital letters, glued them onto the card, and then stamped the tree on the right edge with a couple of different colors of ink. I think you have spruce and earth and maybe even ocean in there just to give it some dimension. For the next card, I just took the aqua panel and the almond panel, nested them together and attached them, making sure I had adhesive on all 4 corners. Took it to my trimmer, trimmed vertically at some random measurement, and then trimmed each vertical panel horizontally at different measurements so I could create this sort of window effect in the background. Finished it up with a ribbon and then attached the cut apart with foam adhesive to add some nice dimension. On our next card, I used the back side of one of the cut aparts. Actually, I'll let you know it was the thank you very much piece from the cut apart sheet. Just use the reverse side because I wanted to do some fun techniques. I took that small birch stamp. First time I stamped it was in the center, and then stamped on either side, just making sure I used my grid guide on my acrylic mounting block to help me keep that stamp nice and aligned. Followed that up with some watercolor pencils, and then some chevron cut edges to my ribbon background, and then stamped the happy birthday in black ink. That's from the unmounted greeting sheet. And I believe that the almond piece here is the reverse side of one of the leftover strips from the cut apart sheet. Not a single piece goes to waste. And of course, attach the remaining almond panel to the inside of the card. And this next one, very, very simple here. Just a aqua cut apart, or actually it's a pale blue cut apart, and an almond cut apart. And I used my tonic distress tool to add a little bit of distressing to the edges. Tied some wax linen onto the charm, attached that with some ATG adhesive, and then ran some ribbon behind here and then attached this cut apart with foam adhesive. Then on this last card, I took one of the cut aparts here, it's this one, and with a craft knife, I just trimmed away this section. And once that was done, I attached it to the aqua panel with foam adhesive, and that really adds some very cool dimension to this card. And then finish it off with an image stamped from the unmounted sheets, and once again with the almond panel on the inside. Now that's set A. For our next set of cards, some simple things here. On this one, I used the back of the almond cut apart that has the word thank you on it. So it's basically this one turned upside down. Stamped it with that birch tree image, colored the birch tree with a white pencil color to add some contrast there, and added some blue to the background with the watercolor. Finished with a cut apart and some of that ivory grosgrain ribbon. You'll notice a little bit of a detail here. This is that blue patterny print. It starts out white with this subtle pattern on it, and by using ocean ink, I believe, or I might have been spruce, with an ink applicator, I just inked directly onto the panel, and that pattern actually resisted the ink color. Kind of creates a neat effect that you might want to notice. On this one, just took the simple cut apart and tore it into 4 unequal pieces, attached it to the blue pattern panel, and then finished it off with one of those gold corner clips. I believe this was a goodie back in the Milestones kit, and we've since included them in the Lock and Key collection as well. This one here is just a cut apart. How easy is that? And then took the charm, once again, tied a little bow with wax linen thread, and I actually stitched it right onto the panel with my paper piercing tool and a needle. On this next one, I'm glad I had the chance to point this out on video. This is the original cut apart. I took a craft knife and trimmed out the rectangular birch tree shape, and then I tore this piece. So this is actually one single cut apart, layered onto the card with foam adhesive. And you can see here I just stapled 2 unequal lengths of ribbon to the edge of the card to anchor this image down onto the panel. Love the look. It's very, very simple. The last card in this set was a simple pale blue cut apart with a stamped image, black ink, and a little bit of ribbon. On to the final set. This is set C. Here we've got kind of a fun thing. I took one of the almond cut aparts, the Believe Me I Miss You. So cute, that's this one. And you see that it has a white leaf on it. All I did was took one of the corresponding shaped leaf images from the unmounted sheet, stamped it in multiple colors onto this white panel underneath, cut some of it out roughly with a craft knife, and then I tore the edges and layered it on top of here. So if I lifted this cut apart, underneath it you'd see a big gaping hole in my blue pattern mat. All the things I get to share, all these secrets. Okay, this one is just the blue pattern panel. I masked off a strip and stamped within it and inked it. And once again, that blue pattern reveals a gorgeous pattern underneath. And then I stamped the background here with the image from the Art Nouveau stamps set and earth ink. Once again, finish it off with one of those gorgeous little silver charms. This one uses a pair of stamps from, I believe it's the Unmounted collection sheet. So I stamped the leaf image in India black ink, and then took the fill image that corresponds to that shape, inked it with multiple colors, stamped it off on a sheet of scrap paper, and then stamped it on to get a nice soft color, and finished that off with a cut apart. And of course that mounting corner. This one, simply a cut apart that's been torn along the right edge, and then the panel that was allocated for this was torn, and then the pale blue panel also torn, all layered onto that aqua card, finished off with the wax linen thread and a charm. And again, the wax linen thread was just from my stash. I used a gray color, but really any color would work. Final card. This is on the back side of the It Has Been a Long Time cut apart. This one, I stamped the mountain background in, I believe it was Ocean, and stamped it off to provide a lighter shade of color, and stamped the keys, or the skis, in India black, and the cool in our ash color ink, and then finally finished that off with a cut apart. Nested it onto the panels, which were also edged with ink to sort of add some dimension there. And there you have it, the 15 Aspen Greetings to Go cards. Hope you enjoyed.